Thanks for tuning in. Stuart the Unrepented Atheist here. I'm reviewing another call. This time, Rainwood called in on the 30th of November 2025. And he's a theist, he's a Christian. Shannon and Matt were in the chair. So let's just go through what he wanted to say about his beliefs. So he started off claiming that the Bible is the Word of God and that God is written in the hearts of men. Well, okay, two claims there right off the bat. Bible is the Word of God. And Matt sort of asked him to justify these claims, but he just, rather than justifying the claims, he went on just making more claims. For example, the Bible is the Word of God. Why? Matt asked why. Well, the Bible's got wisdom in it. Shakespeare's got wisdom in it, hasn't it? Lots of books have got wisdom. Even Harry Potter's got wisdom in it. It doesn't mean it's written by God, though. And it doesn't prove that there is a God. And then, when really challenged by Matt, he goes to, I can't prove it 1,000%. This is so common. This is so common with theists, either on shows or if I'm having sort of virtual discussions with theists. They will sometimes say to me, look, I can't absolutely prove that there is a God. If I say, give me your reasons for believing in a God. Why do you think there's a God? Well, I can't 100% believe. Nobody is asking to 100% prove anything at all. The question is, what are your reasons? What is your evidence? There's a lot around us that we haven't got 100% evidence. I haven't got 100% evidence for the moon landings, but I believe in them because, I think the evidence points that the moon landings actually happened. I haven't got 100% evidence that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK, but I think there's probably enough evidence that he did actually do it. Yeah, I'm going to sort of conspiracy type claims to illustrate this point, I know, but it's just coming off the top of my head. So nobody's asking him why 100%, 1,000%, 100%. When nobody's asking for 100% proof. We just want to know the reasons. So why do they say this? Why do, for example, Christians say, I can't 100% prove? I'll tell you why. They go to the extreme to avoid doing something which is quite reasonable, which they can't even do that. And that is just to provide some good reasons, good rational reasons, for their belief in the existence of a God or that Christianity is true. And instead they say, I can't absolutely prove it. In other words, don't bother me. Don't bother me with your rational questions. I don't want to do that. I'm not here to do that. I'm just talking about my faith. That's all. Well, that's fine. But then say it. Say, I haven't got evidence, but the Bible resonates with me. I think it's the Word of God. I haven't got evidence for that. It's just a feeling I've got. Fine. Absolutely fine. But don't pretend that there's anything rational about intuition. There are different kinds of intuition. There's intuition which is informed by evidence. So you've got some evidence. Quite often, particularly in sort of crime videos, which I've been watching recently, somebody will say, when I first met him, I had this intuition that there was something about him. What was that something about him? You saw him with a gun in his garden, or you saw him slapping his wife. You had evidence. You didn't just have an inner feeling. Your inner feeling was caused by the evidence. Then there's another kind of intuition which has got no evidence feeding into it whatsoever beyond your own feelings. And if you're saying that you've read the Bible and it's got wise words in it and you've got an intuition that those wise words come from God, then you haven't got enough evidence to make that claim, even on intuition, informed intuition. Uninformed intuition is virtually worthless. Okay, so Yeah, okay. Then it came to his real evidence. There's always something that will be that they could have said at the beginning, but they didn't. And in this case, the reason that he believes is that his prayer was answered. We often hear this as well. Yeah, I don't know. My wife was dying of cancer. I said some prayers to God just in case there is a God. She survived, and yep, now I'm a Christian. All right. Well, the fact that your wife was having treatment and chemotherapy and radiology and everything else, of course, had nothing to do with it, did it? It was your prayer to the hopeful God that did it. And in this case, Matt asked him, okay, what was the prayer? What was the prayer? He had to ask him about 5 times. What was the prayer? And what was the answer? What did God answer? So the prayer was that it seems this Rainwood was witnessing. He was putting pro-God and pro-Christian slogans on dumpsters, right? And he wanted to know if that was the right thing to do, if that was actually effective. I mean, what a strange thing to pray for. You're putting slogans out there on refuse trucks. We call them in the UK, I suppose. And in America, you call them dumpsters. Actually, I'm surprised that he can get those slogans onto dumpsters. I mean, wouldn't the driver and wouldn't the men who work with them, wouldn't they sort of peel them off? What's he doing? Chasing dumpsters and sticking slogans on them. That's really bizarre. But anyway, yeah, is it a good thing to do? Is it effective? And what did God answer? He answered with one word, the word anticipation. This doesn't really sound very convincing to me. And when people claim that they've prayed to God, every time we get, well, what was the answer? It's always something banal and mundane. There's never any sort of impressive information or any sort of really profound, anything profound that ever comes out of praying for God. It's always something which is as mundane and dull as the person who's making the claim. So, yeah. When Matt said, well, what did you interpret? What did you interpret from this one word, anticipation? And his answer to that was, yeah, it means we should anticipate God's kingdom. And then he went to, well, look, I just know. Yeah, I just know that I know. And then he went to, look, stop pressing me on why I believe and asking me to prove my claims. You can't prove anything to anyone. Well, this is something that I've heard from not only Christians, I've heard it from sort of New Age type people as well. Buddhists and shamans, whatever. People who believe in, like animal spirits or nature spirits. And when I've challenged that, they've said to me, well, we can't know anything. And I said to somebody who was into sort of shamanism, well, actually, that's not really true. We can know things. And I said, well, such as what? What can we know? I said, well, we know to a really high degree of accuracy how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun. We know to a very high degree of accuracy, and the other planets as well. We also know when Halley's Comet is next coming to the solar system. She said, oh, well, that's just mathematics. I said, well, yeah, but it sort of disproves your statement that we can't know anything. We can know things, not to often 100% certainty. But yeah, so this is what we get. And he said, oh, well, we can't prove anything to anyone. This is false. You can prove things to people, even if not 100%. You can prove things to a really high standard. And Matt did a little demonstration on the screen with Shannon, and he proved that, yeah, you can prove something to somebody. So again, a flaw in his thinking. Because he believes you can't prove anything to anybody, he thinks it's okay to have unwarranted beliefs. Because after all, if nobody can know anything and you can't prove anything to anybody, then you might as well just believe whatever you want. We're all in the same boat. Well, no. there are standards, there are epistemological standards. And this particular caller has got a very low standard, and people like Matt, me, and other skeptics, we've got high standards. Our minds are not cluttered with unproven extraordinary claims, and that's why I think we're in a better position than religious people out there. Okay, he made other claims such as, Jesus walked the earth and healed the sick, and you won't want to die when you're 98. Or he said nobody wants to die when they're 98. When you get to that age, you won't want to die. Well, Matt falsified that as well, because his grandmother was old, she was in pain, etc. Oh yeah, loads of people, when they get really old and they're in pain and their life is racked with pain, either mental pain or physical pain, and they can't do anything. Yeah, of course they want to die. There are people who are lining up to drink a little plastic beaker of poison in Switzerland because they can't do it in the UK. People are going out there and paying thousands to die with dignity. So no, I mean, that's wrong as well. This guy is absolutely full of nothing but false claims, and he believes in Jesus and he believes in his religion, and yet he hasn't got the reasoning abilities of a 2-year-old. Okay, well, that's about it. Look, I mean, I'll put in the description a link to the call. If you want to go and listen to it, you can do, but I hope I've summed it up quite well there, and that you won't need to do that, but if you want to, you can. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.